Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Grassroot Chats, Play to the Whistle. This week, these boys have nothing against Man United or against Harry Maguire because he didn't play both games. This week, Big Dunk is not wearing any jersey because both his teams, let's just say one was walloped and the other one was beaten. But in the studio, we have the angry one back in the studio, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing, sir? You good?
Yeah, I'm glad to be back on one of the episodes where I can take somebody out, aka Duncan. I missed you
Okay,
last week.
by that, ladies and gentlemen, he means he can tease people, not actually take them out, just in case you're listening. Also in the studio, we have Mr. Hinder and of course Big Dunk. Today we are going to talk about the changes that have happened to Liverpool and Man United since they've played. We're also going to talk about Haaland's hat-trick against Crystal Palace, Sterling scoring his first couple of goals for Chelsea, and I'm going to have a walkthrough through the other games. Of course, we're going to have a look at the fixture league that we have and who's leading and who's at the bottom. So sit back, relax, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a good show. So let's go straight into it. Big Dunk. You ruled out Man United. Your prediction was Man United was going to get stomped 3-0 against Liverpool. Everybody thought that would be Liverpool's first win. But for some reason, it looked like the Liverpool game gave Man United what they needed and Ten Hag's plan worked. Did you see that game?
In my defence, I think I predicted the lowest score for Liverpool of anyone here. Didn't Neil Hinder predict 6-0?
Yes, he did.
Yeah. So, I'm not quite as bad as him at predicting scores. Well, I don't know if I said it on that episode, but when Man U are down, they do have a knack of doing something against the better teams. From recent memory, again, I don't follow Man United games. Obviously, I'm a Leeds supporter, but from recent memory, the last 2 or 3 seasons, when Man U have been poor on form or down, people write them off. I can remember them getting results against Liverpool, Man City, some of the top teams when they're down. So it just seemed to be that game at that time just suited it. Everything came together for Man United. Obviously, Liverpool weren't at their best in that game, but you could say that might have been down to Man United just pressing them so hard and giving it all the energy they did in the first half. So yeah, fair play. It was nice for Ten Hag to get his reign off, get his first win in a big game like Liverpool. That was quite a good statement rather than it just being, if you just switched it round and it was Southampton, people would have said, oh, it's just Southampton. Okay. But again, so yeah, fair play. He's off the mark with wins, obviously got the 2 wins in a row now. But yeah, it was an impressive performance by Man U to get that win. No, I don't think many people at all would have predicted that. None of us did.
Well, we on our Instagram page, ladies and gentlemen, I put up the prediction just after the game so you can all see how wrong we were. So please feel free to check that out at Grassroot Chats. Mr. Hinder, did Man United need that Liverpool game? Was that the game to show Ten Hag's plan? And based on the team that he picked out for Liverpool, why didn't he just start at the start of the league?
So they needed it first and foremost. Liverpool were poor up into that part of the season, and it wasn't that many games, but they were quite slow out of the blocks of that game. Man United, I mean, everyone's been going on about how well they played. They played really well compared to how they have been playing, but Liverpool were. I mean, you saw that the last 10 minutes of the game when Liverpool actually played football. Liverpool were dominant and Man United were on the ropes. But that was as good as a result of Man United have had, I don't know, in 9 years, for example. It was that good of a result, regardless of how poor Liverpool were and how diminished they were and how stagnant they were in the whole game. You said, should he have been starting that? Yeah, we've all said it before. Why is he still playing? Why was he playing Harry Maguire for so long? Why had he not cemented it? Had he trusted him in pre-season and training? Has he shown stuff that we hadn't seen? Dropping Maguire, we all knew would be like gaining a player anyway. So he's been playing with 10 players now. He's played with 11 because Maguire's not on the pitch. He's been that poor for them and taking up valuable real estate on that pitch, which was a shame for the rest of the players. So it was almost dropping him was like a sign-in. I know that sounds really, really funny, but it was. And when Chelsea said they were kind of interested and he said no, that was probably the most shocked I'd been over anything ever. So I'm not sure why they want to keep him. And it's just showing that
He wants to keep him as the club mascot.
Well, exactly, right. Maybe he just knows that he's not going to get offered anything for him. But Chelsea are wasting money left, right, and centre. So that might have been a good choice. I think Eriksen played quite well, but he had a lot of space. And that Liverpool midfield, and I think we were saying on the WhatsApp group, was a laugh. Klopp did not show any respect to United in that game.
No,
They
well,
really
to
didn't.
be
With
fair,
that lineup,
to be fair,
that was poor.
To be fair to Klopp, though, they had nine team players out, had a lot of injuries. Before the game, he said, he feels somebody has put the witchcraft at Anfield as players are just getting injured for no reason. The angry one, you actually predicted, you were not on the show, but you actually predicted that Man United would draw. Well, he called me before the game and said, that Man United, the worst that will happen is a draw. I don't know where he saw that from, but he did. Now, the question I have for you, I'm going straight in, man, because we all know Liverpool probably had a weakened team, didn't play as well. Man United, played okay. I'm going to go straight into Trent and I can't get my words right today.
Man.
No. I'm going straight into TAA because I said it last season on Grassroot Chats that a defender should be defending well before you start talking about his attacking.
Okay.
What about Maguire?
Yeah, well, we all know. Well, Maguire, he can't even defend. He can't do anything well. But Trent, did that game expose the fact that he needs to step up his defending?
No, because we already knew that. The reason why I called you and said that you guys were going to get a draw or a win was because when I saw that flipping joke of a midfield, Milner, Hendo, and Harvey Elliott, whatever his name is, come on. That might be the worst midfield in the Prem at the moment. Come on. What's that about? So before that, I thought you were going to get slapped. But when I saw that midfield, I did a U-turn. Ridiculous. So when you've got a midfield like that, and they had, as Neil said, they had so much space to pass it around you lot, them lot, sorry, and they were passing it quickly. Obviously, then the knock-on effect of that is Trent. If we're saying Trent can't defend, he's never been able to defend. His standard of defending has remained the same. It didn't suddenly get worse. The only difference is probably he has a better midfielder around him, and they control the ball more. They didn't control the ball in that game. Therefore, he got exposed, but no more than he would normally have got. The only difference being is that midfield was poor, beyond poor. I can't think of a word for poor, so I'm just gonna say poor. But it was really poor. so that's for me is the main cause why he looked so bad. He didn't play well as well, to be fair, but he
played well. He pplayed better in the second half. He had a lot of the attacks came through him,
but he hasn't suddenly become a worse defender. His standard hasn't changed. He just got exposed because Liverpool were that bad, and you guys played smart, played a counter-attacking football. You had Rashford, you had Martial. You pushed the ball quickly. You didn't dawdle. You broke up the axis of evil. Fred, what's it called? Fred McTominay, axis of evil, whatever that is. You've broken that up now, and you got rid of Maguire. And also, you didn't play Ronaldo, so you could actually press. So the combination of those three factors with Man United made you play better. And Liverpool just gave you the win, to be honest, by playing that midfield. So there you go.
Well, thank you for Liverpool for giving us the win. We really appreciate it. It's kicked us the right way. So with the transfer window coming up or about to end on September 1st, big dunk. Casemiro has come in. He played a few minutes against Southampton, just trying to ease him into it because of the fixture and, getting used to the pace of the English football. Do you think, and Man United looking like Anthony might be coming in as well, do you think more still needs to be bought? Is the obvious problem is in the middle, but it's looking like everything is settling because of the kind of football Ten Hag wants to play, the pressing, and will Ronaldo leave, Big D? What do you think?
Well, with the money they've been throwing around, and if they get Anthony, like that's a lot of money gone. So you probably wouldn't expect much more than that. Casemiro, I think, is a good signing. Obviously, there's question marks over the fee and particularly the contract. Like that is a big, long contract to be given a 30-year-old. And so you'd be hoping he'd be performing for all those 4 years. He's obviously quite going in hard on Anthony, trying to get him in before the deadline. Looks like Ajax are playing hardball because they've already lost Martinez. But again, like if Ajax sell Man United Anthony for 100 mil, they'll get his replacement for 40. They'll be laughing at. I think they're just playing hardball, and he'll probably end up there. So this is probably as good as it's going to get for Man United. But again, like there's a couple of encouraging results now. Like Mike said, they've broken up. I believe it's McFred is what you're looking for. That's the midfield, McFred. They've broken up McFred. Obviously Casemiro. I said that it's question marks over his contract, but like he's a top player. He's going to come in. He's definitely going to do a job this season and probably next season. It's just the question marks into the future. Things are looking up. Ten Hag's obviously starting to get his methods over to the players. It doesn't look good for Ronaldo. I would say if he can get a move, he'll get it. Again, like the only place he's been linked with at the minute is Napoli on a possible loan move. But I'm sure his agent is working over hard for a few extra quid to try and get him a move somewhere.
Well, Casemiro and Fred have a very good combination when they play for Brazil. There's that possibility that option might be there. McTominay seems to, when you look at the last two games, seems to have a bit of more freedom because of Eriksen and Fernandes in the middle. So yes, some things looking okay, but a few new players I think should add to the team. Should Man United buy a striker, Mr. Hinder? Because if Ronaldo goes, Anthony Martial is being injured. Rashford seems to be the only one that can play up top. Do Man United need a striker? Do you need a striker more than you need a midfielder now, the way it's looking?
Are we just glossing over the defence and pretending that
Like
now they're all right?
They are better. They're better than the midfield and the strike
by just dropping Maguire,
basically.
Which was in rocket science that everybody knew.
So they need a striker. Yeah, if Ronaldo goes, that's a no-brainer. Unless they've got some youngsters that they're going to bring through that we've said before. They've got to start giving them a chance. Rashford did score a goal, missed a sitter as well. So that's Rashford in a nutshell for anybody that doesn't really know Rashford. We're talking about the press in football, which is I find really, really odd because obviously Ten Hag wants to play press in football, but he still signed Eriksen. So you can't have Eriksen and then Ronaldo both in the team together because neither can press properly. So it's really bizarre that they did sign Eriksen and then they're looking for these other midfielders as well. I don't think he's happy with that midfield. I think he's played Southampton. All right. I mean, it's Southampton are either really good or just dog poo. Like there's no in between for them. It's either they have a good game or a really, really bad one. They beat a really bad, poor Liverpool team with Milner being wheeled out and Hendo being wheeled out before the game to sit there. And, they're just way past their best together. Like maybe one of them they can carry, but they can't carry two of them. So that was very big papering over the cracks. Man U still need to invest. They need another keeper as well because De Gea's getting older. They need some challenge. I don't know whether they're getting rid of keepers and signing Tom Heaton back. There's no one in there, so they've been linked with another goalie, I believe. I thought Diego Dalot played really well. Dalot, or however they pronounce his name, depending on who's the commentator. I thought he had a very good game against Liverpool, and he showed his defensive responsibilities in that game were good. And I think he signed under Jose when he was there, when Jose was there.
Dalot came through. Yeah. He was signed earlier on as a kid, so I can't even remember off the top of my head who signed him.
So he looked decent, and I thought that was encouraging. But they've dropped Shaw as well, haven't they? So there's all this like movement there that the players have just been in and stale. And I think Ten Hag coming in and dropping them, maybe he was giving them like, you know what? Here's what we've currently got. Board, look at these. This is what I can get out of them. And then they were rubbish, and he's like, I knew they were rubbish, but I've played with them. I've played with the men that you've given me. Now let's bring my men in. And look, we're starting to play better. I need my own guys. My guys can know my tactics because these guys are tactically inept or not good enough. So yeah, he obviously trusts Martial, which is good because Martial has been a good player in fits and starts for them, but never had a decent run, I would say. He's never been like 20 games and gone, here it is. So that's
he's never fit enough for 20 games. That's why he has never had a decent run.
But it might be one day.
Social loved him. I think he's a very good player. Just he's not consistent enough. And then he has the typical thing that a lot of people complain about, which I think eventually gets to managers. He just doesn't look. He could have one very good game and the next game doesn't look interested. But who knows?
The defender looked decent as well. The left back,
Malacia.
Malacia, that's the one. He looked decent. He had a good game. And again, I think the actual back four played as a unit against Liverpool. I didn't watch all of the stuff at the game. I watched the second half, but I watched the whole of the Liverpool one, and they played well as a back four, which was, if I was a United fan, I would be happy to see that level of compactness that they were in. The line was good. The players knew where they were at. It was almost like you've taken out the person that didn't know what to do, and then had four people that actually could understand what foot was. But it's just a massive positive, right? And I thought it was a huge step up. Casemiro, though, I don't know where he's and how he's going to fit in, because you've got Eriksen as well, right? And I can't see Casemiro being this pressing player that he wants. So yeah, I don't know. You tell me.
Well, you never know. He could play a system where you have somebody that actually sits and protects the back four, and then everybody else pushes forward. He always wants 5 people ahead, according to the way he plays. But time will tell how Casemiro blends into the team. The angry one, Liverpool, though. So they lost that game. They had no wins in 3, but then they go on to play Bournemouth, and and of course it was a good spanking that they gave Bournemouth, and 9 goals, and Mo Salah wasn't on the score sheet. So are we? Before that game, everybody was talking about Mane and Liverpool missing Mane, and they don't look like they're clicking. Was it just a thing of a bad start, or they just played possibly the worst team in the Premier League at the moment?
Well, I did say that Bournemouth were relegation fodder, and Dunks went mad at me. So, look.
I think I was more mad at the Leeds relegation.
Okay.
You can have Bournemouth now. I'll give it to you.
Leeds was just a dig, to be honest. But Bournemouth, yeah. No, so I don't know, because personally, I thought Bobby Firmino was finished, but they made him look like a world-class Benzema striker. I don't know. He had like 3 assists and 2 goals. Man was doing chops, fly kick goals, everything. I don't know what's going on. It was bizarre. Because even the worst team I've ever seen in the Premiership, they got relegated, hasn't played that bad. But I think also Liverpool had a point to prove. I think normally after 4 or 5, they probably would have calmed down. But they were so upset about obviously losing to Man United, they just went for it. And once it got past 5, I think Bournemouth just kind of gave up, because it was just wave after wave after wave. People just doing what they wanted. It was quite painful to watch, to be honest. but I can't see Liverpool doing that again. I think they're just trying to prove a point. Bournemouth were particularly bad on the day because they didn't start well. But I would expect them to start to improve. But I wouldn't say they're back now and, they're going to start steamrolling teams. I think that was kind of a fluke of a game for both parties. Although Bournemouth will still get relegated in the end, I believe.
I mean, looking at the start of the season, Liverpool, the first 2 games they drew, but they actually played really well. And then against Man United, they didn't play so well. Against Bournemouth, though, Big Dunk, you were talking about it last week, and you were saying you're not quite sure what Scott Parker is doing. He doesn't know how he's, playing his defense. Almost every season, there's always a team that gets beaten. The last 2 seasons, it was Southampton, took 9 from Leicester, then took 9 from Man United. So these things happen. Was this just a one-off for Bournemouth, or do you see this repeating itself, considering the fact that when they played City, they lost 4. They didn't look as terrible as they looked against Liverpool. So was that just a one-off, or do you think this might be the kick that Scott Parker needs to tighten up stuff?
It's a kick, all right. We're kicking him somewhere. I said last week, like, I wasn't going to draw too much into like the results against like Arsenal and Man City, because the top teams, like, that's bad though. That's 9-0. It's pretty bad. There's no covering that one up. Like Mike said, they just gave up. Like, there was a goal, like the 6th or 7th goal, a rebound off a corner. Defenders were literally just standing there watching it, and then at some point they went, "Oh shit, they're going to score," and tried to move when it was way too late. It's really poor. Like, we've just played. It's a tough run of games: Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool, but we've scored 0 and we've conceded 16. Like, that's not good. Like, Fulham played Liverpool in the first game of the season and scored 2. Like, regardless of what kind of form Liverpool are in, that's the kind of fight I expected to see from Bournemouth this season, going up against teams, because they, like I said, they did it last time they were in the Prem, and most of the core squad's still the same. They're just devoid at the minute. So we'll have to see how much that run of results has hit them. Whether Scott Parker can come up with some inspirational speech for the next game they've got. And like I said, I'm going to start drawing conclusions when I see them play a couple of teams lower down. Like Villa should be horrified that they lost to Bournemouth on the first day of the season. Like if that's how Bournemouth have been playing, I'm starting to think like in the last 4 games, that Villa result was an anomaly. They were caught cold or something, and Bournemouth luckily got a win like early doors in the season. But again, like I'll refrain. I want to see how they play against teams around them. But if they show this kind of lack of fight, I'm not holding out much hope.
Well, you never know. As you said, they played an inform Arsenal, played Man City, and played Liverpool. So they could be back to playing teams that you could say are the same level, and who knows, get a result here and there. Mr. Hinder, do you agree with the angry one saying Liverpool? It's not like Liverpool are back and they're going to start steamrolling teams, or is this just they need to get those players back fit and all these midfielders because Harvey Elliott and everybody else is not enough for Liverpool like they were last season?
Oh yeah, it's got a quality goal. Yeah, Liverpool aren't at the races at the moment. That result against Bournemouth was an anomaly for most teams in the Prem. Dominic Solanke played and didn't score, though, Dunk, just in case you said the saviour was there. Kiefer Moore played. He didn't score. Actually, no one for Bournemouth scored. That was as... It was just poor, right? Liverpool were just training the ground in the end. It was like defense versus attack. It was that bad. I don't think Klopp will be reading anything into it either, other than that was a nice run out. No one got injured. We scored a boatload of goals. We've cost ourselves a fortune because Firmino got 3 assists and 2 goals. And anyone who had him in his dream team as triple captain would have been amazing this week. They'd have been well happy with that side of things. Liverpool still need to... It was funny because I watched the interviews afterwards, and they were talking about like the midfield of Liverpool and how they were lacking against Man United and who they needed. No one even mentioned Chamberlain played for them. They were like mentioning everyone else, and it was like, you still got the Ox. Like he must still be. He must have better legs than Henderson and Milner. It must do, or unless he's just constantly injured. Yeah, so they need another midfielder badly. I probably think of. With the amount of injuries that they're getting, maybe 2. Van Dijk looked terrible in the United game as well. Forgot to mention that he was stagnant, poor. He doesn't look like he's woke up yet. Bournemouth are going down.
Yep.
There's no savior. It'll be interesting because on Saturday, on the next game, they're playing Nottingham Forest, right? Nottingham Forest went up at the same time, and Nottingham Forest have gone out and bought a load of players. So it will be interesting. The team that went up with their team spirit, and that's really helpful to have in the Premier League, versus we've bought survival. So it will be interesting to see how that actually plays out next week, because Bournemouth will have to have had a big kick up the arse. But we've also got a sack race going on as well now with Steven Gerrard and Scott Parker, right? They've got to be in a race for who gets
Frank's
sacked
still
first.
in it. Frank's still in it.
Yeah.
Week 6.
No, Jared's got to be more favourable, and also Rodgers, because they're not doing anything at all, Leicester, at the moment, and that's another one.
So I like what with Rodgers. He has a tailor-made excuse. They haven't invested anything in the team. The team they need just one winner. You never know. But with Steven Gerrard, I like the fact that you mentioned that, because this was probably the same reason why. What's the name of the manager before Stevie G? He lost 5 games in a row or something
Dean
like
Smith.
that. Dean Smith. He lost 5 games in a row, and then all of a sudden, the team is not playing well. The angry one, when you look at the situation, so there seems to be some argument with him and Mings, dropping Mings as captain.
Mm-hmm.
They're not winning games. It's not one of them cases that they're playing good and then losing, but it doesn't look like they're playing good football at all.
I hope it continues for the rest of this week.
And then, so is this a case of how much more will Villa hold on before they say bye-bye, or do you think they'll give him the rest of the season if this continues?
They'll give him at least till, I would say, probably around Christmas time. It's too early. It's early doors. A couple of wins and they're back in it. It's only when it gets a bit
Christmas.
near enough. Because
Nah, man.
because you only get rid of somebody when what are Villa's aspirations? If it's top 4, probably, or top 6, maybe earlier than that, they start thinking, look, we need to get rid of him. But if you're,
Oh, 100%, I agree with that sentiment there. But the fact that he's lost the dressing room
but has he lost
is
the dressing
the
room though?
biggest issue. Yeah,
You reckon?
he's fallen out of Mings, and none of them have wanted to play for him.
Well,
And he bought early, didn't he?
Mings is only one player. You can just sell him to the kids.
But this is the difference, and I think what Arteta did really well at Arsenal, like he fell out with players or whatever, just got rid of them.
Yeah.
Fergie used to do it at United, right? Falls out of him and get rid of him. Now, Aston Villa, he's fallen out of players, and they're still around. That negative energy.
But apart
isn't gonna
from
be doing
Mings, who else
anything.
has he fallen out with?
Well, you've got the club captain.
Danny
I
Ings.
imagine he's got some good old friends.
Danny Ings.
Danny Ings.
Yeah, but we said with Mings, he doesn't have a choice
And
because
Conte as well.
Diego Carlos got injured. So he's kind of had to go back to Mings and bring him in the team.
But he could sign somebody and get rid of Mings.
But
Yeah, he signed Diego Carlos. No,
But
he's
they could sign
injured.
another player if they got rid of Mings. It depends
yeah,
on
keep
where Villa
signing
want to
those.
be, right? They've got to do something because it doesn't work if you fall out of your captain and then he comes back in.
Yeah, but I
unless
think
he
it's
makes a
early
public
days.
apology.
I think it's early. I mean, yeah, he's in the hot seat, but it's still early. They've only played 4 games in, and
4 games, 1 win from 4, beat Everton, and as Mr. Hinder said, it might be the situation or the rumor that he's going against players and all that. But we shall see. If you think Christmas is
I
where
reckon Christmas latest, probably maybe if it's really bad, maybe November. But whatever the aspirations are for the season, they haven't been dented yet. So I don't think anyone's thinking about that. Frank maybe, or even Frank's it's early, but because he had such a shaky last season, maybe they might pull the trigger a bit earlier because I can't see any progress with that team. And they're still playing. Who do they play up front? Bloody. Hold on.
Gordon.
Did they just buy
They drew
Neil Marpe?
Neil Marpe, yeah,
Jesus,
from a team
that's
that doesn't score any goals.
I thought I dreamt that.
No, I was the same. I think
believe
he's
It's
all
terrible.
right.
He's any guy. He's no guy.
But maybe that's where they're at though. Maybe because they can't get anyone that they want, and they need a striker there without a doubt.
No Marpe.
So Everton just brought Neil Morgan.
I was as surprised as you.
He's got minus goals in the Prem. He scored.
No, he does.
He can't.
He does. He doesn't have minus goals. I think if they did that, that means there's a big possibility they're going to lose Anthony Gordon just before the transfer window.
But he's not a striker
Because
anyway.
Yeah.
So
Because Chelsea want him. Anthony Gordon is a striker.
But
that's
they,
not where he
they
started.
might be able to get Broja on loan as in return. So
Yeah,
well.
and Barkley, because Barkley's
Oh,
rumored
yeah.
to leave Chelsea at the moment as well.
Yeah, he might as well just move
What's
back.
happened to Calvert-Lewin? Is he still injured?
Yes.
He's at Arsenal.
Calvert-Lewin.
Yep.
Sick note.
Yep. But
he's
speaking about mindset, and there's, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't noticed, there's a reason why the angry one is a bit more calmer, a bit more, he's happier. So the fact his team is top of the table, 4-4, looking good. The thing I want to talk about though is Arsenal's mindset, because last season, or even some seasons before that, they go a goal behind. It's pretty much going to be struggle from then on. But Arsenal is looking good, looking in form. The players are looking hungry. The angry one, are you still saying Arteta is falling into this good fortune? Because you have the belief that he just falls into it.
Well, he did
Do
initially.
you?
But
Okay, so now do you think he's actually implementing his
yeah,
process?
now he's starting to put a plan together. But initially he fell into it. So it's looking good. But let's not get overgassed. Yeah, because it only takes one. I think the real test of the mentality isn't that we came back against Fulham when we basically dominate that game anyway. The test will be when we lose to somebody, and then we see how we bounce back. Because last season, when we lost to somebody, we lost 3 games in a row before we come out of the rut. So if we lose to whoever, it doesn't really matter, and then we bounce back the next game like Liverpool strong for 9-0 or something like that. Then you can say, okay, yeah, they're back on track.
Are you saying you want to play Bournemouth?
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
hopefully.
you've already played them. You've already
We
played
played
them.
them twice. But if we lose and then bounce back straight away, then you can see progression from last year's mentality. Last season, when we lost games, we lost them in bunches of 3 at the beginning of the season and 3 near the end. And they were against basically teams that we should on paper beat. So if we turn that around, then we talk about how our mentality's changed. At the moment, we've won 4 games. Yeah, that's great. Okay. but that doesn't mean fuck all, pardon my French, if we lose the next 4. So let's
Well,
don't get
there
me
is the possibility that you won't lose the next game, which is against Villa.
next 2.
But you might
Next two.
lose it next two. You might lose that, but we'll talk about that when it comes. Big Dunk, you've always given Arteta his props. You think he's doing really well. We've spoken about, has he gotten his team now? He's looking all sweet. Top 4, you predicted Arsenal to be in the top 4. Do you think they'll be in the top 2?
Whoa.
Ooh, that's too difficult to call now. Like again, like we say,
I mean, you called Bournemouth going down, so what can you call this?
Neil said they're going down. I never said they're going down. I'm waiting. I'm not putting anyone up or down after 4 games. He likes putting words in my mouth, doesn't he? But at least it's only words. But anyway, so with sorry, lost my train of thought.
You're too teethy otherwise.
It's very early. I mean, it's easy like 4 games in to get caught up in the hype. I'm sure Mike, as an Arsenal supporter, won't. Like you see all these people, top of the day, Arsenal. Like no one's saying they're going to do this and that, but they're looking good. I'm definitely I'm happy with the top 4 prediction. Could they get top 2? Yeah, but they've got to maintain what they're doing like over the course of a season. Like Mike said, that's where you see the change of mentality and how they handle certain periods of games, whether they get a defeat. I think like we've discussed their signings, having people like Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko who are winners in the team. I'm sure that helps towards mentality when things aren't going your way, and they'll be G'ing people up on the pitch. Odegaard, who Neil questioned his captaincy credentials. I'm sure all these players are like really giving out signals on the pitch to be getting stuck in and not letting the heads go down when they go behind. But yeah, that was a good win. Like to come back, goal behind. It's their first setback of the season. Go goal behind to Fulham and come back and snatch it quite late on. Like that's a good thing to happen. Again, what's my key word? Momentum. Keeping that momentum going. Come back, get the win at Fulham, which they probably would have like expected themselves to win before the game. But yeah, so it's all looking good. I'm happy with the top 4. I'm not going to put them top 2 at the minute, but could they? Yeah, they could. Yeah.
What's the biggest improvement Arteta has made to the team, Mr. Hinder, when you look at the first 4 games now and the way they've been playing last season? Clearly, we've been talking about the process he's trying to implement, but what do you think is the biggest thing that he has thrown into that team right now? Because the way they're looking.
Someone that can score goals. Like literally, that was the one. That was the. It's the hardest thing in football to do is score goals on a regular basis, but actually have someone that's a threat up there. And I think, as I said before, Martinelli knows that he's got a player that can score goals with him. It's a massive bonus, right? Just think of how De Gea was more confident when Maguire wasn't in the team, how much happier Martinelli is now he's got Jesus up front rather than no goals in Nketiah. Like that you've got
when Maguire retires, Neil will be very upset. There will be no other example to use ever. No other example.
Oh, you'll have someone else at that particular point. We'll whoever replaces De Gea in goal. So it's about building. I still think there are a couple of players short. They still need a couple of midfielders. I still think they need another striker. For me, Nketiah still wasn't good enough, but they've given him a big fat contract, whether that's because they didn't want him to go for free or he's really nice off the pitch. I don't know. I've not seen the whole of the documentary yet, so I haven't got that far through. So there might be something in there that I don't know about. Arteta, like I was saying earlier, he trusts himself explicitly and he follows whatever he wants to do, and he's got buy-in from what I've seen on the documentary from Eddie and everyone else. So they're all on the same page. There's a good synergy at the club and the hierarchy are all very happy with him. And so there's obviously constant communication, which is very, very important. And that's then coming through to the players of that trust and of actually what I want to do and how I do it will work if you do it. Look, we've got these players that have come in and helped and just helped cement that. And having players in the team that don't want to be there for one reason or another, they have to go. Like, you just have to let them go because it's for the better of the team. And that's the most important thing in football, regardless if you don't replace somebody who is a world-class striker with another world-class striker. If they have the mindset and the right attitude to come in and they're that team player, it will bring everybody up. It will G them up. Like, if you look at Gabriel's mistake, it was an absolute you know,
Shocking.
it was horrendous, right? It was up there with
Maguire.
Mendy's the other week, right? It was so bad, and
It wasn't that bad.
No, it was terrible.
It was
especially,
because
especially if you're
he was-
comparing it to Mendy and all that. It wasn't that. I
It
mean, it
was
was
because it
terrible
was
for
so
a player like
needless.
him. It was terrible for a
it
player
was-
like him, but you know,
for any level of football, it was needless. Like if he'd kicked it at him or whatever, but it wasn't. It was the fact of what he was trying to do as a defender in that position, and then the goal goes in. So they're proper errors that are leading to goals. They're like massive mistakes. It's not like he's kicked the ball and it's gone wrong. He's literally done completely the wrong thing and made a really poor choice. But as a team, they solidified and then got the win.
and
even
he got the
Gabriel
win.
got
Yes.
got it. So he, it was 1-0 if you eradicate the goal and the error that he did, and that was I think for Arsenal to come back into that game though when they were down after losing, and they were, like you said earlier, you were dominant. The game was yours, and then suddenly you make that massive fundamental error. The goal goes in. That could have gone. You could have collapsed, but they didn't. They could have capitulated, but they didn't. They actually G'd themselves up, got back in the game, and looked like they were going to win. And that's a mindset they haven't had, even in the game they haven't had that. So it's very impressive what they're doing off the pitch and on the pitch. And I think that the more that you look at them, and I know that there was early days where there was some issues, and there still will be down the line. They'll lose a random League Cup game, or they'll lose against United in the league, but they'll carry on with other things, and the project's good. But they still need another midfielder and another striker.
Yeah,
at least
they're looking good at the moment. Looking nice. Everything seems to be working. The fixtures are lined up really nicely for them. Villa's next, and then Man United, which Mike believes is 6 points for the Arsenal. So we shall see. The question, though, Mike, is the window closes September 1st. Mr. Hinder thinks you still need a few players. Do you think the same? And who would you get in at what position?
Yeah, I think
the way things are looking now.
I think we need another midfielder. I will say though, although I used to think Eddie's Pap, and he might still be Pap, but he made a big impact when he came on as a sub. Should have scored. I think he had 2 good chances to score. So I mean, maybe it's the number 14 jersey. I don't know, but I'm not sure I can trust him yet to be a backup for Jesus. But on that game, he looked okay, decent enough. So yeah, probably another striker. But if we don't get one, it wouldn't be in the world. But we definitely need a midfielder because El Nene is a disruptor. If you watch the game, we couldn't really play through the middle because he can't do what Partey does. He can't collect ball and push the ball forward. He's more of a break-up play and maybe pass it sideways. So everything came down the channels. So we need another midfielder in the playmaker ilk. Although I don't know what that Vieira's going to play. I think he can play across the front three and attacking midfielder. But we probably need to upgrade for Xhaka, although Xhaka's playing all right. So we at least need competition for Xhaka and Partey. I think that would be our downfall in the season if we don't get that type of player. When Partey gets injured for a long period of time, we'll struggle because we don't really have a direct replacement for him. I don't really want Tielemans, but I mean, somebody's better than nobody, I guess. But what we'll say about going back a quick point with regard to what we've improved the pace of our football, because when I watched it, we were winning the ball back quickly and constantly recycling it and pushing the ball forward non-stop, which we haven't done in the past. So I wanted Paqueta, but I think he's going to West Ham. So I don't know. I'm not sure. We just need another kind of holding midfielder. I haven't got anybody on top of my head, but we just need somebody who can a ball playing midfielder who can get tackles in. Fred, maybe.
Well,
I'm joking.
I'm sure. Fulham look, they held their own. I mean, they were outplayed, but they scored a goal, even if it was from a mistake. Dunk, Mitrovic looking stronger this season. He's looking like he's up for it, looking like he wants to score a lot of goals. And the way Fulham play, yes, they didn't, they seem to be a bit more compact, and Marco Silva seems to be implementing some sort of system. Do you think, considering the fact that they played Liverpool, they're not played Arsenal, do you see them finishing top half of the table?
Yeah, I think they'll be around that area. I mean, at the minute they're everything Bournemouth aren't, are they? They've played, like you said, Liverpool and Arsenal. They've scored 3 and conceded 4. So like that, though, that's competitive. Like even though they lost against Arsenal, they're battling away. They're in games. Mitrovic, I think we all said like that. Fair play. We were quite happy for him in the first game of the season to be scoring 2. It's always good for a player to be like hitting back at critics or saying they have question marks over him. Yeah, he's looking really good. Like he's really battling away, getting in people's faces, giving defenses a hard time. And what's he on now? Is he on 3 or 4 goals? Like
3 at least.
I think is it 3?
Mm.
But yeah, he's obviously a good start to the season. So fair play. Like I think they are looking competitive, and they're going to give teams a run for their money. Kind of like Leeds when they came in the first season of the Premier League. Like they were never going to win everything, but they were going to give you a game and be competitive. So I could definitely see Fulham.
Oh, 4. Bloody hell.
4 and 4. Yeah.
4. Yeah. Yeah, so I can definitely see them again. Like the league's probably going to fragment like it did last season. You're going to get like the breakaway relegation teams. You're going to get that solid pack in the middle, and the top are going to break away. So I can definitely see Fulham like being in that solid pack in the middle, 9th, 10th, possibly.
Well, moving over and speaking about solid packs, Haaland, first hat-trick in English football.
Sorry, how does that link in? Are you talking about your 6-pack there? How does that link into
he's
Haaland?
got a solid pack.
It'll come to you at some point.
Yeah, can we clarify that, please?
It'll come to you at some
what's happened
point.
to this podcast.
Only God knows how you people think. But anyways, first hat-trick in English football. City were two goals down. Crystal Palace seemed like, okay, maybe we might cause an upset here, and the way they were playing. But then City proving to be too good. Now, I was watching that game, and then the third goal that Haaland scored, I don't know if you guys have seen the goal. I'm hoping you have.
Yeah.
Please tell me, somebody's talking about his strength and the defender couldn't do better. I'll start with you, Mike. I've played football with you.
Yeah.
So please tell me that wasn't way too easy for him, and he has nothing to do with, his strength and he was so amazing.
I'm not going to tell you that. That was pure brute strength, like some caveman thing. But the guy did. I mean, you've been there yourself as a defender, trying to defend somebody who's stronger than you. And
I don't understand what you're talking about.
No, you've been there. You've been there. I've seen you on the pitch.
Everybody has been there,
but
but
yeah.
at least he didn't get past me. If that's what you say, didn't get past me. He was stronger, but he didn't get past me.
Anyway. So basically, he's just too strong. Because if you watch him in the other games, even in the first goal with a header, he came across the defender, just pushed him out of the way, and got his head on it. He's just a beast of a player. I can't see what that player could have done without fouling him. There was nothing that player could do. But if you fouled him, then he's a red card. He's off.
No, there was another defender close to him. It wasn't off.
Well, it's easy to say and harder to do, isn't it? It's easy to say I'm just going to foul this guy because obviously he didn't realize how strong Haaland was till he felt the force, and it was too late by then. He went, "See you later, mate." Then he scored. You're going to see him do that to a lot of defenders this season.
I know he's a strong boy. The game against Liverpool and the way he held Van Dijk, pretty much making Van Dijk struggle. That's probably one of the few games that you see Van Dijk's not looking his calm self. But yeah, it's a good goal scorer, good position. Dunk, is this a case that City, have they gotten to the point that they just go, yeah, 2 goals is not enough to beat us if you want to beat us, because they came back against Newcastle. If not for Trippier's very sweet tackle against De Bruyne, I probably broke up the play. But they came back against Newcastle. They came back to win against Crystal Palace. So is this a case of just we need to outscore the opposition for City? Or do they need a better defender, better defence?
Well, yeah, they definitely need a better defence because they're the champions of England. Like they want to be winning the Premier League this season. And I think Neil put the stats up. Like Palace had 25% possession and 2 shots on goal, and they got 2 goals. So you can say that's like bad luck, but they've shipped 2 to Palace and 3 to Newcastle. Like as the top team in the country, like that's not. Those are not good stats.
True. Arsenal's the top team in the company.
What currently?
Yeah, currently.
Yeah, they haven't got the trophy though, have they? Man City have got it in their little room.
That was last season.
Oh yeah, but they've still got it until someone takes it off them this season, like. So yeah, for the top team in the country, they need better defense than that. Like I don't think Man City or Pep would be going out telling his teams like, just do whatever as long as we outscore them. Like, again, let's quote Leeds from the first season back in the Prem. That would have been that team. We're going to outscore you. But yeah, they definitely need to do something about their defence. Laporte's coming back from injury soon, I think. So maybe he's going to come in and shore it up a bit. It'd be hard to see. Say again?
Did Diaz play?
I don't know. Was Diaz playing that game?
I thought it was
Diaz and John Stones.
Diaz, yeah. Oh yeah, because John Stones got the own goal. I mean, defense-wise, I mean, they should be all right. They got Diaz, Stones, Laporte. They've still got Ake. Whether they're going to use him, they kept him, didn't sell him to Chelsea. So they've got 4 solid defenders. So I don't know what's going on specifically at Man City that they're shipping so many goals, but that's something they need to look at and sort it out, because that could be costly against better teams.
Well, Haaland, Dunk predicted Haaland should score at least 26 goals this season. Neil said he might still get injured at some point. Does it still looking the same way, Mr. Hinder, considering the fact that you guys have just pointed out how strong he is?
You didn't ask me.
I did.
I didn't say how strong he is. No, you asked the angry one.
Yeah, he is strong. That doesn't mean he can't get injured, though. Man. That doesn't mean he can't get injured.
He's not just the fact that he's strong. He's quick and he's clever. So you'll see his movements aren't just standard, stagnant centre-forward movements. He's very much constantly taking 3 or 4 different movements in the box. He knows how to move the defenders out of the way. You'll notice his arms always into the midriff rather than the shoulders, because he's pushing them out a little bit. So he's very clever. He's a very clever centre forward rather than just being the box standard. Plus, he's got this pace for days. He is strong as an ox, and he knows exactly where the goal is.
And he's got a solid pack as well, apparently.
Exactly. He's got this really solid pack. So what's going wrong at City is they're not playing the same way as they used to play. They haven't got the defensive midfielder anymore. So if you look at that game and what's going on, the defense are just wide open and being cut like butter, left, right, and centre, because you've got 2 attacking midfield defenders either side on the fullbacks. You've got Stones and then Diaz. And then for that particular game, they've got Silva, Rodri, De Bruyne in the centre of the park. Now that is not a very defensive midfield at all.
So they're losing Fernandinho. So they lost Fernandinho, but they brought in this Rodri and Phillips there, though.
Yeah, but Rodri is kind of more box to box.
Yeah, he is.
So they're missing the player that sits back and takes the weight, dictates the midfield. It's
supposed to be, isn't it?
So. Yeah, but he's known. But so you've got Bernardo Silva. We know he scores more goals than anything else. Like he is a very good midfielder. De Bruyne is not the player that you want in front of the defence. You don't want him to sit back, because that would just be ludicrous, and what a waste of a player. So then they've got Haaland, Mahrez, Foden, Silva, De Bruyne, and Rodri, Cancelo, Kyle Walker. So you could say that 8 strikers, pretty much. 2 defenders with John Stones and Ruben Dias, and Ederson in goal. So this is why they're getting cut open. It's because and the best way to defend is attack. And if they score 2 goals, all right, we've got to get 3 goals. They can still do that, which is the difference between Man City and everyone else. You don't want to give anyone else a 2-goal cushion, but they can do it. If you look, they brought on Gundogan's not playing quite as much football, but he came on for Cancelo. So just to show you that the way that he's changing the pitch and the way that he's trying to do things, Alvarez came on for Mahrez. So it was obviously a fundamental change in the formation of what he wanted to do and to try and shore up, obviously, to get the goals, because it's too many attacking players. So they need a defensive midfielder. If Phillips is going to come in, I don't know. They did buy him for that reason, but maybe he's not quite football IQ up to speed for where Pep wants him to be. Maybe he's out injured again because he's made of, I don't know, polystyrene. He wasn't even on the bench by the looks of it, so I'm assuming he is out injured, or he can't afford a foul already. So that's why they've capitulated at the moment at the defense, because they don't have anyone to sit in the centre of the park to help them out. And John Stones isn't really the most frightening of defenders, is he? He's covering Kyle Walker's side, and Kyle Walker's like Trent. He's never going to be back. He can defend better than Trent, and then you've got Cancelo with the S. So yeah, they're missing everything that they had last season. But they've got Haaland. So what a difference that is. What do you take? 4 goals, 4-2 opposed to 2-0?
The
I'll take 4-2
question,
if it
though,
was my team.
the
Yeah, me
question, though,
too.
the angry one is when you see the way Jesus is playing for Arsenal and the freedom he has, and he's, pressing, getting the ball, taking on players, give him a chance, we know he will score. Was he played differently at City in the sense that even when they played him up top, what's the because the way Haaland is playing and the way he's pretty much like the point man, why wasn't Jesus played the same way in City? Because he's doing exactly the same thing at Arsenal.
No, he's not the same type of player as Haaland, first of all. But also, secondly, he's playing with a well, no disrespect to Arsenal, but let's be honest, he's playing with inferior players, so he's going to shine out. So now he's basically the main guy in a weaker team. He's gonna stand out. Even like Sinchenko, I didn't notice him that much in City, but you noticed him in the Arsenal team, bloody hell. So Man City is a top team because they can afford to get rid of Jesus. He goes to Arsenal, shines. Get rid of Sterling, goes to Chelsea, shines. It's just that they're so far ahead that even their cast-offs are still probably can walk into any team. Basically, that's how good their team is, and that's why you don't always notice because you got people even like Bernardo Silva. You don't always see him that much because they were playing Mahrez's and they're playing what's his name, Sterling's and the Sane's beforehand. But when you watched him this week, he was sublime. Sometimes you forget how good their players are because you don't see him that much. But as soon as they get a chance to play or they play in another team, that's when you realize how good Man City is. So it's not a case that he wasn't given a chance. He just had a slightly different role, and he was playing with players that were better than him. But now he's playing in a team when he's probably the best player or one of the best players, and that's the difference, isn't it? It's like you going to play with 10-year-old kids. You look like a hero, obviously.
It depends on the 10-year-old
Oh.
kids, man. Well, it depends. You never know.
I think you're doing him a bit of a disservice though, because he's still got to play against like the other Premiership teams.
No, but I'm not talking about what his impact against other teams. I mean, how he looks in comparison to his teammates is what I mean. He looks like the main man.
Well, we shall see how the season as it goes on. Speaking about Man City, as the angry one I just mentioned, getting rid of players and they're going to other places and shining. Sterling getting his first 2 goals for Chelsea. They were down to 10 men after Gallagher was sent off. And then they still beat Leicester 2-1. So Tuchel, in the last few episodes, Mr. Hinder thinks he's not doing well. Big Steve says they should have gotten rid of him. I think Dunk was kind of kind to him in the sense that, give him some time. But Chelsea won 2-1 after losing to Leeds 3-0 last week with 10 men. Sterling, if Chelsea don't get a striker, which they are linked to Aubameyang, will that be a bad? Obviously, that would be bad because they don't have a focal point in terms of striking. But will Sterling do the job as we've already mentioned? Do you think he'll be the one guy that can get them the goals that they need, Mr. Hinder?
No, he's not the one guy. He's never going to be the one guy that you want to play up front because he's not that complete player that you want. Will he score goals with other people around him? Yeah, 100%. But he's not your guy that you're going to trust to be your number 9, which he is a quality player, but he cuts really well in from the left and he can cut in from the right as well and be back post to slide the ball in. That's where he excels when he's running and stuff. You take him away and you put him at the top. He's just not the same. He's not going to sit on the back and he's not going to be able to hold the play up. And he probably misses too many one-on-ones as well that I would then, as a trust level, to have him in there. I'm not going to get excited about Chelsea beating Leicester 2-1.
With 10 men?
Well, I don't care if they had 8 men. Like that Leicester team at the moment is just proper shocking. They need something done drastically to boost them up. So yeah, Chelsea is still 2. It was Gallagher sent off as well, wasn't it? Unnecessarily, but from a team point of view, it's they're still struggling. They're still trying to find their way. They're still trying to clear players out and look to see who they get in. I think maybe if Tuchel continues, how does he get on with his own players? Is he going to get a chance because they've been signing them? where are they really going to be at, and what formation is he looking? Because it was kind of like throwing money at the wall, like we'll just get whatever we can. So it's going to be interesting to see the transfer deadline, because they still need players, but they obviously need to get rid of Ziyech. Has been linked with leaving to go to Ajax after Anthony goes to Man United, which makes perfect sense because they'll probably get him on a loan. Chelsea will pay him 15 million to get rid of him. Because that's what Chelsea seem to do, like to lose massive amounts of money on players. And Ajax would be sitting there dirty rich with a player that can play in exactly the same position as him. So it's a bit weird at Chelsea, but I don't think that 2-1 is 3 points, obviously, but it's not going to give me the reprieve of Tuchel in any way, shape, or form.
So last season Lukaku was a missing piece. He's definitely
what?
missing. And then and now Aubameyang might be linked, or it might be coming to Chelsea.
That was dead in the water. He wanted too much money.
Already
Surprise,
again.
surprise.
Oh, can you imagine Aubameyang wanting too much money?
Yeah, man, so you need to keep up with the tattoos and Ferraris and all that. Though. I mean, the man lives a very big lifestyle.
Lambo as well.
But if they decide, if they get Gordon from Everton, who's a very good player, looks like with better supply he might be dangerous striker.
No.
Do you think that will change the way Chelsea play? Do you think they'll get more goals? Do you think Tuchel will be able to play other team members around the guy or make him the focal point? Big Donk?
I don't think Gordon's going to be a focal point, and like Neil said, Sterling's not going to be a focal point either. They're quite similar players. Like they're both going to be involved, get some goals. I don't know. He got rid of Werner. He got rid of Lukaku. Here, I guess he's banking on if they don't sign anyone, he must be banking on Havertz coming good. I mean, Havertz can get goals, but he's never been again an out and out goal scorer. In Germany, he was like more.
As a playmaker, goal scorer, playmaker.
False nine, dropping in behind the strikers. So yeah, it's hard to see where they're going to go. Like the Aubameyang, it just even being linked with them, that kind of smacks of a bit of desperation. In the same way when Man U were linked with Arnautovic, like you don't want to be going there for a damaged goods player who got kicked out of Arsenal, or maybe they were going for the. They thought he'd get on well with the fans because he pissed off Arsenal. Not surprising that Aubameyang couldn't agree terms. He's probably on a great deal on Barcelona because they got him on a free. So they're still going to be missing something on top, and until they get that, they've only got 3 days left now. Until they get that, they're going to be a bit stuck. They're going to find goals, but again, like Gordon's not going to be the missing piece. I don't think that what they're looking for.
So, in terms of missing piece, I'm talking about focal points and strikers. So, is Tuchel trying to play a system? So, if you look at Liverpool and you look at City now, is this season they seem to be wanting to play with, the one guy up top that will get them the goals, Haaland, Darwin Núñez. The angry one with Chelsea. Do you think that's the direction they're trying to go in? So they're trying to find that striker that can blend in with the array of talent they have in terms of midfielders, the Sterling and all the other Loftus-Cheek. Do you think they're trying to get Tuchel is trying to implement that kind of system as well, where he gets one striker that can give them the goals?
I think based on the people they're linked with, they don't know what they're doing, because you're gonna be linked to a 33-year-old player in Aubameyang. That's very short-sighted. Even if forget about. He probably will be late to half the games anyway, so wouldn't miss most of the games. Aside from that, he's 33 years old. You're going to get 1 year out of him, most. So that's really short-sighted. Even if he'll still score you goals, whatever. So okay, that looks a bit weird. And then you look at Anthony Gordon, who's not actually even a striker, because I swear last season he was playing midfield. So that's a bit suspect as well. Anybody else they link to in terms of strikers? And there's plenty out there. No, none. So then. Are they really looking for a focal point striker? Because there's plenty out there they could be linked to. They could even try and get Tammy Abraham back if they want a focal point striker. But they're not linked to anybody of any real note as a number 9. So then you start to question, what's the plan then? Or do they have 2 separate plans? Does Tuchel have a plan and then the new owners have a different plan? Because at the moment, they're all over the place. They're still trying to chase for final for 70 mil. I don't think defence is your main problem. You haven't got a striker. But so then, I don't know, what is the plan here then? Are you going to play Mason Mount up there? I don't know. It's a bit all over the gaff, mate, to be honest.
The Fofana one is strange, considering the fact that really, where's he going to play? Is he going to displace Reece James? But Mr. Hinder, you have something to say?
Yeah, so I haven't seen the full Chelsea versus Leicester game, but they played 4-4-2
Huh?
in that particular game, right? So Mason Mount played left, Conor Gallagher and Jorginho in the centre of the park, and Ruben Loftus-Cheek on the right. So that was really random. You got Reece James playing right back, and then Cucurella playing his left back. So rather than them playing as they were wing backs, so he's gone for 4 at the back and 4 across the midfield. People like Brozier didn't come on, Hudson Odoi didn't come on, Ziyech didn't come on. He brought on Pulisic, Aspilicueta, Ben Chilwell, and Kovacevic. So where they weren't ever looked like they were chasing that game or wanting to. I think they went into that trying to be compact and tight by playing 4-4-2, putting Mason Mount out wide left. He's kind of I want to say disservice to Mason Mount, but the guy's been playing like right behind the front man for such a period of time, and they've got Havertz and Sterling up top is your 2 front men. So I think that they were just trying to be hard to beat in that particular game and not to lose. It went obviously wrong after 28 minutes getting a sending off, and then all the changes happened. But that game was set up as to be compact by the looks of it, so they knew exactly where they were, and it wasn't overly complicated. So then maybe that's we aren't reading too much into it. Maybe that's a thing that Tuchel is now going, you know what, my system isn't working. This 3-4-3 isn't really anything that's going to be any good. So let's put in 4 across the back, 4, and then a 2. But and that's the case. Brozier's still not starting, and we linked him with several clubs at the start of the season. Yeah, because Dunk had a couple as well. So we linked him with several clubs, and I linked him with lots of. He would do a job, and he would do a fantastic job as a strong centre forward in that team. Him and Sterling. You've also almost got Defoe and Crouchy at top there, going to a throwback era of Redknapp managing. So it's a really odd setup for Chelsea, and then they're buying Fofana for 80 odd million, and you're like, you've just given Aspilicueta. Maybe they're thinking he is the future because you've got Aspilicueta who's aging and Silva who's 700 years old now. By the end of the season, he's literally been around forever. So I can only see that being a forward-looking signing.
But why not buy him next season then? Well, why buy him now?
Maybe because Leicester are so bad that they can get him now.
Well, it's not cheap.
They might need, but they need the money, don't they? Leicester need the big money to clear out. So maybe next season he gets in. I don't know. Tuchel's got a plan. None of us know what it is, and I think it's just closing his eyes, picking and then trying to find a player that fits in that position.
I'd say if he's going hard on Fofana, he probably wants to play the 3 at the back with the wing backs. That's probably why they're trying to get him to spend so much money on him.
But which is fine. But then the forwards are just.
We shall find out what his plan is. We clearly have no idea what it is, but we shall see. A manager that we always seem to talk about so far with very different episodes of Grassroot Chats is Graham Potter. Losing Bissouma this window, and everybody thinking, okay, they did bring some players in, but you're probably wondering, Brighton, are they going to improve every season because they don't have the funds, they don't buy as many players? But it's just 4 games, we know. But, 4 games, unbeaten, looking really good. Trossard and what's his name that plays forward again?
Gross.
Yep, thank you, sir. They're looking quite good. So once again, it's the same question we always ask about Porter. The angry one, how long is he going to continue, performing this magic before somebody snaps him up? Because, yes, as I said, it's just 4 games, but you can see from the way they play that, his managerial tactics work.
Okay, well, 2 things. If he doesn't get sacked this season, because I think the biggest error he made was selling Malpri. He's one of the best strikers. But if he doesn't get sacked for that, then I could see him move. The thing is, they're doing well. So let's say Gerrard or Lampard gets sacked. One of them, we should have a bet who gets sacked first, actually, out of those 2. So let's say
without asking anybody, I know who Dunk is going to say. I know who he's going to say.
Let's say one of them gets sacked, for example. In theory, him going to one of those jobs is technically a step up. So maybe that's one of the jobs he could go because they're more like a top 6, top 8 team. But having said that, the way he's got Brighton playing at the moment, you wouldn't say that those teams are better than Brighton. So it's kind of maybe he's a victim of his own success, because traditionally the step up would have been to one of those teams. But he's got his team playing so well now that actually, is it a step up to go and play for those teams, to go and manage those teams? On paper it is, but I don't know. So I think maybe what he needs really is investment in Brighton. If they can invest, there's no need for him to go anywhere. But we'll see.
Well, when it comes to looking at the future and hoping that somebody comes to save
Hopefully goes
England,
to England after Southgate.
yeah, Dunk is trying to kill Southgate himself. Do you see? And of course, he wants to replace him with Eddie Howe. However, do you see Potter being somebody that can step up and take over Southgate if your prayers are answered?
I think he could. Yeah. And but like Mike was saying, I could see him. He's going to be giving himself a lot of stock in the market as well this season if he can pull off. We were talking about Brighton last season and said they did really well, and then the hard part is to like either match that or do even better. He started really well, so I think if he can do it like again at Brighton, particularly after losing the players, his stock's going to go up a lot, and he could possibly be in contention for like a job at one of the bigger clubs, or maybe he's going to turn Brighton into something fantastic and maybe go on to England after that. But, as it is, he's probably in that zone now where he might be able to do something similar to like David Moyes, where he's got West Ham, consistently in the top 6 or 7. So they've had a great start to the season. And like I said, if he can get in a higher position, maybe they can start eyeing up Europe if it keeps going well throughout this season. His stock's going to go up, and then we might see him being linked with something like a bigger club or the England job.
Mr. Hinder, so they started last season pretty much the way they've started the season, really well. And for all of you that are talking about Neil Maupay, I mean, he's the same guy that was doing great things at Brighton under Graham Potter. So you never know, he could do the same great things for Everton. But with how far do you think, even if Brighton doesn't do as well as they did last season, and they still stay up, Potter definitely has done a great job at that club. There's no way, apart from relegation, there's no way the season can end and we can say, you know what, he didn't do a good job there, Mr. Hinder.
So, firstly, let's not do my namesake a disservice with his footballing ability. He scored some quality goals at Brighton. He's a battler. He's from that type of player.
Yeah, Arsenal definitely knows that.
I don't think that he's going to score enough goals. That's maybe his downfall, and a bit of a random one for Everton. But maybe they needed that passion. Maybe they needed that football.
Let's pull up how many goals he's actually scored.
So Graham Potter getting money for a team that wasn't necessarily scoring enough goals for a striker is a little bit of a worry. But maybe he, from the point of letting a striker go, but maybe they've got something up his sleeve. What I would worry about for Potter is, and I'm sure he's really happy and he's doing a great job, is does he want to leave? He might be really happy. Does he have aspirations to go higher? But what is he like with the better quality of players, the ones with the different work ethic, the ones with a different attitude? He's got players that he's getting in at the moment who are his players, which is a nice thing to have. We've all played Football Manager. When you start at the club and you've all got your players after a couple of seasons, you know who you've got, you know that everyone's there for the same thing. When you go to another club, then it's going to take a couple of seasons for that to come in. Does he really want to do that? He's way too young to give up Premier League football to go and be the England manager, and that would be an absolute travesty for another club to have him. It's an England job is something you should be doing when you're older and you're looking just to go and watch football and then coach for a couple of weeks a year. It is compared to you're just going to watch games, right? And just discuss if anyone's decent or not. And everyone knows who you're going to pick anyway. It's hardly ever, look at this surprise. No. Other than Walcott getting called
there
up.
you go.
But he only got called up because everyone in the press was going, you should get Walcott. He's a great player.
Respect on my boy's name. What are you talking about?
No, he's a 14 for Arsenal. There's no respect on that number since Henry.
What about Eddie?
You get it's Henry. I stand by that comment. He's doing a great job. I'd like him to stay there. There's no reason why Brighton can't be a bigger force in the Premier League. And the investment is the key thing. They're in quite an affluent area of the country as well, which is a nice thing to have, and it's a nice place that people want to live. So they've got that going for them. I'm going to get players in. They're not going to be living in the middle of nowhere from that point of view. So it's an attractive proposition to go and play for Brighton, and it's attractive because you've got a great manager there that's got a team that's still doing well, even when they're selling their best players. I don't mean Malpe. I obviously mean Cucurella, but they're still selling their best players, and it's kind of like, did we sell anyone? Nope. We're still carrying on, right? The job is exactly the same. So that's testament to him. And yeah, I'd like to see him stay there. Why go elsewhere? Unless Barca come call him. And why not? Because it's a nice ground.
Neil Maupay has played so far, or he played 102 games for Brighton. I give a guess. Big
22.
I've already looked it up, so I won't spoil it.
Okay. Just tell us, since you have looked it up.
It's 26. So
I want far off.
Yeah, like one in four. Like again, like as a main goal scorer, he's probably not going to be fulfilling the role of banging in goals every week. He's like Nielsen. He's a grafter, and he'll pop up with the goals here and there, but he's not going to be banging in like 20 a season.
Well, 1 in 4 is not bad for Brighton, especially when they came up and how they've gradually shown improvement over and over again. So you never know. Maybe Super Frankie Lampard can bring out the best in him, even if Dunk has no belief whatsoever in that. Okay. Well, they were all the Premier League games.
We're talking about Dele Alli going.
Where's he going?
He's gone.
To where?
Besiktas.
I knew it.
He's on holiday.
I was going to say that.
Besiktas. On loan.
Yeah, Besiktas.
On
Yeah,
loan.
on loan.
Yeah.
When did
on
he
holiday.
go?
He's gone for an all-inclusive. He thinks it's 2 weeks in the sun. That's what he's read. He's gone there. It's alone. He's going to put 2 weeks worth of work in the whole season, and enjoy himself. He went on Friday.
Damn.
Thursday. What's last week?
Can we actually have a minute here on Grassroot Chats where we can seriously
silence
talk
for
about
his career being over?
where we can seriously, you see, I didn't even finish saying what I wanted to say. Where we can actually seriously talk about what the problem might have been with Dele Alli. Is it just a case? Just a minute, please indulge me. Is it just a case of he doesn't want to be on the pitch? Is it a mental situation? What exactly? Because as you say this all the time, Neil, a good player doesn't just turn bad. So what exactly do we think is the problem with Dele Alli? I'll start with the angry one. Is it just a case of I'm done here? I don't want to do this.
Yeah, his head's gone. He's lost the passion for it. It's just a job now, and you can't think like that when you're playing competitive sports. You can get away with that at a desk probably before you get a disciplinary. But what's a disciplinary when you're playing football? I don't know. So I think his head's gone. He's not really
a move to
it.
Turkey.
Yeah, basically.
It wasn't up to a minute, but we were getting there.
Via Frank Lampard's Everton.
Yeah, I know. So I think that's it. He's just not about that life anymore. And when you're not about that life in football, it shows in your performances.
You agree, Dunk?
Yeah, well, something's gone wrong, and everyone quotes that famous episode where Jose was telling him about in training, and he looks like he's been proved right. Like he's been proved right a few other times as well. So you can never know what's going on behind the scenes. But like Mike said, his head's not been on the pitch. I mean, he's still, what is he? Is he 26? Like he's not even.
Yeah.
He's not even that old. So he's got time to turn it around and bring his career around. But yeah, things have not been working out for him for some reason,
or
another
a fluke. Although that whole season and a half was a fluke, and this is actually how good he really is. It's one or the other.
I mean, I would ask Mr. Hinder, but is there any point?
We haven't got time because he said a minute. He's going to go on forever.
Yeah, he's going to go on and on and on and on. But well, Dele Alli, we wish you well.
No, we don't.
And we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens maybe you might turn it around in Turkey. West Ham beat Aston Villa, as we've mentioned already. Villa is not looking like they are hitting the ground running with the quality of players that they have there and all the good signs that they showed last season. We've already mentioned that Gerrard might be a top contender if they continue like this. But Villa will be playing Arsenal next. Any chance of them actually getting anything from that game, Mr. Hinder?
Arsenal or Villa?
Who do you think?
Depends if Nketiah plays up top. I think Gerrard's lost it there. As much as Dele Alli had lost it in football, I think that's what's now happened in Gerrard in that Villa. They've lost faith in him. No one trusts him. He's upset a well-liked player. It doesn't bode well, and you have to have the dressing room on your side. And we all, as I say earlier, we all said that he did great business early. We were pleased with the signings. I don't think they're bad signings still, even if they're injured. But he hasn't got that dressing room where he should have done, and where he had that honeymoon period and he was doing well, and Dunk was saying how well he was doing and how bad Frank Lampard's doing. Like, the turnaround at Villa and that slide has been massively drastic. Yeah, they got a win, but I think they're going to get an absolutely spanked by Arsenal.
Amen.
I think that if you look at the two again, I was saying it earlier, like Arteta compared to Gerrard and the way that they've gone about stuff. Okay, it's just different. It's just better. We all know that the Xhaka incident was there, but like there was like an apology. There has to be a buy-in, regardless if even if he doesn't mean it. There has to be a buy-in, and there has to be a group. This is a team game, and it has to be a team. And the team have lost him with Gerrard. They're like, no, and they don't look like they're playing for him. And that's the key thing. They're not going out there with the pride that they necessarily have had and vigor last season, which is a shame from a Villa point of view. But Arsenal are on the other end, and Arsenal are probably just going to spank them. Literally, they might even do a Liverpool Bournemouth.
Please.
No, man, no.
Nah,
Your
man.
predictions have been
Nah,
terrible all the time.
he's
There's
doing
no,
reverse jinx, let's be honest.
no.
He's
Well-
well,
I win either way in this one, because if Arsenal lose, it's funny for the next episode.
I won't be here. I'm joking. I think it's the Prem. Anybody can beat anybody on the day, to be honest. So just because we've won 4-4 doesn't mean that we'll beat mediocre Villa. The Prem is so competitive that on any day, look at Liverpool, Man United. Obviously, the midfield didn't help, but we were all betting. Everybody predicted a spanking, and then Man United pull it out of the bag. So,
Well, after an
Yeah, but they've
unbeaten
got a couple of
start,
players.
after an unbeaten start to the season, Leeds losing to Brighton. Dunk, no jersey today. You're not standing strong by any
It's in
of
the
your
wash.
boys. Brighton, we've mentioned how good they've been playing. It's just a blip in the start to the good season for Leeds. Jesse Marsh shall get his guys back on.
Yeah, no jersey. It has to go in the wash once a year, so it's gone in there now. Yeah. So again, that was a game where you knew that was going to be a close one between two teams who like showing some pretty good form. Just a bit disappointing from Leeds that they were a bit overrun in that game. Like Brighton had more chances. Leeds kind of had a couple of chances towards the end when they were 1-0 down. So not super depressing that we lose away to Brighton. Just a little bit disappointed by the manner of defeat and that we didn't put up a bit more of a fight. Obviously spent it all last week smacking Chelsea around at Ellen Road. So we won't be too upset about the defeat to Brighton.
Okay. Well, and of course, Harry Kane breaking the all-time record for Tottenham, I believe, and is looking like he's getting the fourth highest goal scorer in the English Premier League. Nottingham Forest, I think he's still behind Andy Cole, I think. Yeah.
Overtook him today. I think he got 2 goals, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. But anyway, we shall see. He missed a penalty. Dean Henderson saving another penalty, which is not bad. Nottingham Forest looked like they were in the game for some time, but Spurs, being clinical, 2 goals, Harry Kane. We have mentioned the fact that apart from the first game when they beat Southampton, Tottenham hasn't particularly looked like very, like they're dominating teams or they're playing really well, but they're still grinding out the results and winning games. Is that the sign? And of course, Mr. Hinder mentions how Conte is a winner. He knows how to drive his team. Is this the new look for Spurs where they've become a team where they can grind out results and it's not just about playing wonderful football? Diagron?
I'm not sure I would agree that Tottenham ever played wonderful football, but I will say they're getting the points, and that's all that matters at the moment. Just getting the points until they start, because they haven't really clicked. like at the end of last season, they were in full flow. They were playing decent football and getting results to match. At the moment, I wouldn't say they're doing anything special, but the most important thing is getting the results quietly efficient, I'd say. So that's what they're going to do. I think they'll be in the mix. Well, we already said they should be in the top 4, but the way that Liverpool have kind of faltered early, some people think that they could go higher, just like Arsenal, really. But let's see where we are by Christmas. But yeah, they're doing what needs to be done, just getting the points.
Should there be any worry the fact that it's 4 games and Son hasn't scored a goal? I was listening to the commentator today and just going on and on about, it seems like a very massive goal drought. Harry Kane has started early this season, where usually he takes his time, but he's gone what 4-4, I believe.
Well, that makes sense because Harry Kane normally doesn't score. It's a well-known fact that Harry Kane has goal droughts till like October or something like that. So if Son hasn't scored in 4 games, I wouldn't call that a drought.
Well, then you speak to the commentator, not me.
What's
How
his
do you
name?
say it?
Sort him out.
Yeah, sort him out after. So Son, do you think, Dunk, if Son goes X amount of games, let's say 7, let's just use 7 as an example, where he doesn't score, he's still playing well. Do you think then there'll be a situation of, okay, let's give Richarlison a chance to start?
Possibly. Like that was props to Richarlison. That was a nice assist today, even though Harry Kane was like totally unmarked. It was a lovely outside of the foot cross in there. Again, like
easy. That move, easy.
If they're paying 60 million for Richarlison, like he's going to play a part. Like definitely, you don't spend 60 million for a bench player. So whether that's like rotation going around somewhere, or someone gets injured, but I think Richarlison will definitely get a chance in the next like 2 or 3 games to get a start and see what he can do. I don't think they'll be panicking about Son. Like they're getting the results. Harry Kane scoring. Like I don't think there'll be any like personal mission going on there as to who scores the goals. As long as someone in that front 3 is scoring the goals and they're getting results, I don't think there's going to be any panic there. They know what a quality player Son is. He's got his golden boot from last season to show it. So no panic. But again, like Richarlison's definitely going to play a part at some stage. So probably if he hasn't had a start yet, I could see him getting a start in the next couple of games.
29 years old, Harry Kane. Mr. Hinder, do you think he'll beat that Premier League record?
Yeah, I mean, he did miss the pen, which was a bit of a shame from his personal point of view. But that goal with the outside of the boot from Richarlison, he had already been in the box. Kane had, and the ball was there, and it came out again. And he's just sitting in that box unmarked. That's like defending 101. Regardless of what team you're playing, you're like, Harry Kane's on the pitch. Let's just keep an eye on him, right? He's in the box. So that was woeful. He will definitely be one of the leading top goal scorers, if not breaking the Prem record. There's no need for him to leave Spurs to go anywhere else. Like, where would you go from there to stay in the Prem? Man City are no longer interested. They've got Haaland. You don't go to Chelsea from Tottenham if you've got any ounce of dignity in your body when you're English. So he's not going to go there. He's not going to go to Man United.
So it's all right for you to go if you're not English?
Yeah, it's different.
Okay.
When you're English, you've got a certain level of
right.
do you know what I mean? There's a certain level of respect that you should be having.
Certain level of decorum for being English.
Exactly. Otherwise, he's besmirching Spurs, and he's supposed to be Spurs through and through, right? Even though he used to be an Arsenal supporter. So there's, he will only go maybe Man United when he's 37. And they're looking for a washed-up striker. That'll be the case. He's done really well, and we need to give him massive props for continually every season to perform, even when it looks like the team isn't doing well. He's still stepping up. As for Son, why panic? Your team's winning. You don't change it. There's no need. Like if Harry Kane isn't scoring and stuff, they've got. They're playing obviously slightly different this season. I didn't think, but we also haven't got to the really important games. We haven't got to the Champions League as of yet. So we're going to start seeing a bit more rotation in teams and a little bit more movement. Richarlison's obviously learning the way to play football because he's been at Everton. And they forgot last season on how to play any form of football after the first 4 games. It was bad there. So it's bed him in, but you don't take Son out and just put Richarlison just because you spent 60 million on him. And if Son isn't scoring, Son is playing something different. He could be just taking players away from Kane and keeping Kane extra space. That in itself is key in any football, right? And people always know if he gets a sniff of goal, he's going to score. So you have him on. Maybe Richarlison will look at play the right. But what a player. If he's happy when he comes in at 60 million or 55, what it was, and he's happy to play this part of the team and he's been sold it that well, then massive props to Conte for getting a sign in that. Massive props for not only explaining to the board that he wants a player for 60 million to sit on the bench and be a squad player, but also to get a player at 60 million in to be a squad player. That's some massive convincing. But that also shows Richarlison's maturity and understanding that this is a team game. So, it's big respect all around on that particular signing for me.
Or he just had a chance to get out of that Everton side.
And he didn't want to go to 2 weeks in Turkey, right?
Well, we shall see. And of course, another unbeaten side in the Premier League this season, Newcastle, gets in a 90-minute equalizer from St. Maximum.
What a volley.
What a volley. We're looking like, if the Premier League ends now, that should be goal of the season. With Newcastle though, and the way they play and the way Eddie Howe has, made his team compact, I still don't know where is St. Maximum's best position. Dunk, any ideas?
I know what his best position is in FIFA, but we'll stick to real life. Because he's got that footies card. Class. Yeah. Anyway, in real life, because he's got all the skills and the tricks, he's not going to be like a focal point centre man. He could be like out wide, or that kind of like 4-3-2-1, where you have like the probably similar to what Liverpool would play, like where you just have the two players playing off the central guy, but they can contribute to the goals and the dribbling, etc. But yeah, he's a class player. He's always pulling out tricks here and there, and that goal was absolutely class as well. Again, like I've always been surprised why before they got taken over that he was never linked with bigger clubs than Newcastle.
He signed a 6-year contract, I think, just before COVID. So I don't think anybody will be going in to touch him anytime soon because of money and stuff. However, the angry one, Newcastle just signed Isak, and if his reputation is as we know, what does that mean for Mr. Callum Wilson? Because Joe Linton doesn't have to worry now because he's a midfielder, so he doesn't have to worry about being benched as a striker. But what does that mean for Mr. Wilson? If Isak comes in, will you think he'll be given a chance? Do you think Eddie Howe will try and play both of them together?
I think he will. I think he will for some games. But the problem with Wilson is you can't trust him to be fit. He's getting his teeth knocked out half the time, or he's getting injured. So
his teeth knocked out once and still scored in that game.
So he's not about a lot. So you need backup. If you paid 60 for him, I know they've got the money, but you'd expect Isak to be the main striker when they play a lone striker. And Wilson to be... In fact, they probably might even get more out of Luke Wilson coming off the bench now, because then he's not... he'll keep his teeth in for most of the season, so that's good. So I think Isak is going to be the main guy once he beds in. I don't know how long that would take. I saw something on the Sky Sports saying that they wanted to see if he could be ready for the game this weekend, but I don't think he played. But yeah, he's going to be the main striker, I believe.
Just throwing stats out there. Wilson's got 22 in 47 Newcastle starts, which is pretty good. Like, he's a good goal scorer.
Yes,
probably agree with Mike that he'll be used a bit as a super sub. Yeah. But I think Eddie Howe will try and play them both together at some stage.
So are we saying it's automatic here that as Isak has come, Wilson is just going to go to the bench? Is that what we're saying?
Okay. Well, first of all, you forgot about Woods.
Who?
Chris Wood.
Who's that?
Remember they bought him from Burnley, so Burnley went down, right?
Is he a footballer?
So he's still at Newcastle. So we were like, oh yeah, we've got this. What about Wood? Like
25 mil as well, wasn't he?
It was big old money just to get Burnley relegated. Did well though. It worked from that point of view. St. Maximin's never going to play at top.
No.
He's just not a forward. Never scored enough goals at any of the clubs. He's got all the tricks. currently. Whether he continues that, which is he's getting to the age where they stop him and just do smart moves. He is. He's 25, 26. So usually it's
Wow,
like the younger players.
and that's the
No.
age.
Yeah, he's really old.
I'm
Really
not
old,
saying
Mr.
oh
Hinder.
man, it's not. You can't even listen. I didn't say he was old and not going to play
Mr.
football anymore, or suddenly
Wow,
become a left
wow,
back.
very
I
old.
said that he's at the age where they stop doing tricks because they get to that point and they play differently, and it just happens because he's no longer a teenager. But he's still maintaining it. They've obviously brought this player to play at the top. Is like there's no way they spent 60 million on a striker and not going to play him.
Unless you're
He's literally going to be their main man. You're right. Wilson isn't trustworthy enough to carry the team. He isn't fit enough. That's what I mean by trustworthy. When he's fit, he's a top player. But when he's not fit, it's just too much at the time. When you spend 30 million on Chris Wood because Wilson isn't fit, that's when you know you've got like problems from that point of view. Yeah, good signing. It's the player that Arsenal were linked with as well at some point last season.
who? Isaac. Yeah, we were.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
let's see what he
goal
comes
scorer.
in to do. Let's see what he comes to do in the Premier
Score
League.
goals.
He has we shall see. He might not.
He's not prolific like in where he's been in Sociedad. He's not a prolific
But
scorer.
he's only 21, don't he? Was he? Or 22 now? He's one for the future, at least.
So we shall see. Well, speaking about that, this is a nice way to jump into the fixture league that we have, ladies and gentlemen, the Grassroot Chat. I believe the angry one is leading that table.
Am I?
Am I? I think he's leading the table.
Let's check.
And we are going to go straight into the fixtures. So the Premier League is going to be a good week for football, ladies and gentlemen, from Tuesday all the way through. And some good fixtures. So we're picking 4 teams. And of course, we shall predict the scores and see where everybody stands in the table. So this week, ladies and gentlemen, from Tuesday all the way to Thursday, I'm going for 4 games, and we're going to start with Liverpool, Newcastle. Newcastle unbeaten in the Premier League. Liverpool seem like, they've gotten themselves back after spanking Bournemouth. So it'll be a good game to see how both of them respond or react. So Liverpool, Newcastle, I'm going to start with the angry one. Prediction scores.
2-2.
2-2. Okay. Dunk.
I think Liverpool will be a bit too good for Newcastle that game. I will go for a 3-1.
Neil.
2-1 Newcastle. Liverpool have used all their goals up. You only get a certain amount of the season, right?
Okay. All good. And after the next game, after getting their first win of the season, and Tottenham looking like they're grinding out results, playing, moments of football, good football here and there. West Ham v Tottenham. Dunk.
That Villa West Ham game was poor. The highlights were like 2 minutes long. The efforts were all bad. So even though West Ham have got their win, I can't see them beating Spurs. So I will give it as a 2-0 to Spurs.
Okay, Mike.
Yeah. What he said.
Which is?
You know what he said.
No, I didn't.
To say it. Spurs win. Actually, it could be 3-0. 3-0. West Ham have been poor.
Okay.
It is a London derby though, but no, 3-0. Go on.
Okay. Neil?
Yeah, 2-1 to Spurs.
Okay. And you never know how they're going to respond. They haven't won a game this season. They're at the bottom of the table. And then they're playing Man United. Leicester v Man United. Neil?
Leicester home?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, that's going to make a difference. You're going to have Anthony in by then, right? And Casemiro and Maguire. Is Maguire playing? Don't let me know if Maguire's playing. If Maguire's playing, it's a Leicester win because he'll still cheer for Leicester scoring. I'm going to go with 2-0 Leicester.
Is that solely based on Maguire, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the fact that Man U have used all their luck already.
Yeah, because the last 2 games have been lucky. Dunk.
Milner and Hendo in the centre of the park. That's like a gift.
Yeah.
I'll give you a win, JJ. I think.
No, you don't have to. Oh, please.
Leicester haven't actually been too bad in their defeats. But I think Man U will carry on their little bit of momentum they've got. I'll give it as a 2-1 to Man U.
Oh, okay. The
They got
angry one?
momentum.
I was going to say 2-1, so I'm going to say 2-1.
To who?
Man United.
Okay, thank you very much. And the last game that we've picked, Inform Brighton playing Good Look Fulham. Fulham v Brighton, Craven Cottage, Neil.
1-0. It's at the Cottage.
The angry one?
Fulham win that. 3-1.
And Dunk?
I will go for a 1-1 for that one.
1-0. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Please follow us on our website, www.grassrootchats.com. You can see the table and see who's leading and seeing who predicts
Who is leading?
better than the rest. Sorry?
Who's leading?
Ladies and gentlemen, check it out on our website. You should find out who's leading. Yes.
It mirrors real life. There's a serious element of luck to who's leading the Premier League and who's leading our prediction table.
It's just too much hating. Really too much hating.
You are still winning.
Yep. Still winning.
Only
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in and listening. If you like what you hear, what you see, please follow us on all our social media at Grassroot Chats. And of course, you can get all our content and follow us on www.grassrootchats.com. And please hit that notification button, subscribe button on our YouTube channel. The angry one has never been this happy, ladies and gentlemen. We don't know how long that will last. Can Villa upset him? But till then, Arsenal are in form. Thank you very much, sir, for being in the studio. Big Dong had a double loss this weekend. Jersey in the wash. We shall see what happens during the week. And Sheffield Wednesday was scoring some mad goals. And at least Mr. Hinder is happy. He's quite sad considering the fact that it's nothing to tease Man United about. But you never know. He's looking forward to that first loss again.
There's always something to tease Man United about.
There you go. All right. Till then, ladies and gentlemen, it's goodbye from Mr. Hinder.
Take it easy, guys.
Goodbye from the angry one.
Adios, amigos.
And of course, goodbye from Donk.
See you on the next one.
All right. Till then, ladies and gentlemen, more thanks.